Louis, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Sure. I was born on a small farm. No, I'm joking. My background is really 30 years. I hate to say 30. I went around down to 25, but 25 years of broad-based experience in the financial services industry. Lived quite a few places. It's been a journey. So I've done, quite a few things. So within the financial services space, I've literally worked in almost every facet. I'm also a reformed lawyer. Eat my pound cake in the Catholic church basements. And I've been called kind of a connector or conduit, right? So to kind of cut right to the chase. So the idea with Conduit Community Capital was really to serve as like a bridge or the connector, effectively a conduit, between Atlantic City, human capital, financial capital, and intellectual capital. And in what we'll call it my day job, which is, again, primarily financial services, wealth management, I've made a pretty good career with connecting folks with capital, financing ideas, and things of that nature. So only thing else I can really say is kind of grew up blue collar, first generation high school graduate, college graduate, as I said, law school graduate. So there's a part of what I'm trying to bring to Atlantic City is the my experience, my knowledge, my expertise, and kind of some of these what I would call God-given gifts, and try to really revitalize Atlantic City.
Okay.
The comeback part, I think it's interesting, but I think as LL Cool J said, don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years. So it's, I think, 1800s, late 1800s. Got a little sense of humor, or at least try to make it light. But yeah, other than that, I don't know what else to really say about myself personally.
I read that you are the personification of the grit of Atlantic City and Camden, the mindset of New York, and the soul of Philadelphia.
Yeah, so I was actually, it's kind of stuck with me. Part of my background is real estate, and we can kind of talk about opportunities and something. We'll do that in the 5 minutes we're here. But in my travels, I've worked in New York, Boca Raton, Phoenix, Philly, quite a few places. And in my travels, it was a friend of mine from Philadelphia, now friend, wasn't a friend then. He literally told an introduction that, I basically had Philly soul. What was it? Philly soul, a New York state of mind.
Yeah.
And I think he said
Grit,
Atlantic City grit. Yeah.
Atlantic City and Camden.
Yep. And I think Camden and Atlantic City are very similar in ways. I think people don't maybe make that connection in a positive way. So part of what I do, heavily involved in the nonprofit sector. So I sit on the board of St. Joseph's Carpenter Society, which is in Camden. It's affordable housing. Recently appointed to Atlantic City Community Fund. So again, a lot of what I'm really trying to bring to Atlantic City, and I think it could be kind of a nice foundation, is really, we'll call it conscious capitalism, kind of capitalism, profit with purpose.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I'm here today. Like I said, the fact that we met, and you listened to me, kind of my spiel about Atlantic City and really pitching the positive attributes. This is basically a birthday gift 3 weeks early. So.
Yeah, it's you can blame Louis for my being here. He did introduce me to the city and many of the people who are here. And I really enjoy getting to know a market and the people who are in it, and the community builders like Louis and like Evan and many of you here. So one of the remarks that you made about Atlantic City is you said the issue with Atlantic City is it can't quite figure out what it wants to be.
Yeah, and I think Atlantic City can be whatever it wants to be. You hear and you read, even recently, is it a cannabis capital? I said it on a presentation where somebody said it was debauchery. So is it a den of debauchery? Is it family, right? Because of what Bart Blatstein's doing with Showboat and bringing, the water park that was discussed and now it's here. So again, I think Atlantic City is just so unique. And to me, Atlantic City is really kind of a crown jewel community. So it's a diamond in the rough. The perception, I kind of get personally offended when people talk about it as, a dump or a shithole, if I could say that out loud. But To me, it's just, like I said, to me, and I tweet about this all the time. Social media, anybody will listen. You listened to me that night on a roof deck at the Worth Beyond Wealth event. And, to me, it's 48 blocks of diversity, inclusion, culture, affordability, and just this urban fabric that I think, we all need and we can all prosper from.
So recently I was in Indianapolis, and Magic Johnson was the keynote speaker. And Magic had everyone standing on their feet at the end of his talk, and having them applaud 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I thought, wow, they all did it in unison. And I'm thinking, would that work in New York City? Would that work in a place like this? I don't know, because I think there's something about the individualistic spirit of a place like this that makes it real and gives it a lot of promise. And so I came back thinking, oh, that individualistic spirit. Yes, San Francisco has it. Yes, New York City has it. A few other places I've been. But I think when you have creativity and diversity and that kind of grit and that determination and all that together, all blended together, wow, that's good. Atlantic City has that.
Yeah, to me, Atlantic City is business. And when I say that, Atlantic City means business. It's a place to do business. And again, I think we forget sometimes. I actually spoke to Evan about this, is very few people think about people working here, meaning outside of the casinos or just some of the industries that are here. So, I think what COVID changed a lot of things in the pandemic, and I think it's really attracted, and I don't know if the storyline's getting out there, but whether it's work from anywhere, digital nomads, or just folks that are working digitally from Atlantic City, from New York, from Philadelphia, from other places. And I think that's a catalyst, so to speak.
Definitely. You'll probably have attracted some of those San Francisco escapees too. Then they have a lot of tech talent there. Okay, Louis, anything you want to add?
All I would say is, I think Atlantic City, the front yard's beautiful, but I think we know we're going to address this when we get to the challenges, right? I'm an optimist, but the backyard still needs work. And again, that's something I really look forward to assisting with. Okay,
and fintech and community building are all part of that.
That's correct. It's broad-based financial services, things like fintech, wealth tech, working with some of the folks here, kind of early stage on things like a neobank or CDFI, things like that, where you're kind of creating this financial ecosystem. I don't know that there's been a bank or a financial institution, specifically a bank, that had its headquarters here since Boardwalk Bank and Michael Devlin. So that's one of the things I'd like to bring to Atlantic City is this like financial services ecosystem, which will then bring these knowledge workers. And again, the idea is really kind of the takeaway is really live, work, give. I think we know about the play. I think Atlantic City is known for play in a good way. So I don't need to focus on that, but I really think that again, profit with purpose, giving back, attracting those types of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, Louis.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.